Welcome to Stella Sisterhood, a sacred space for women, especially those of us aged between 45 and 60, who are ready to have the real conversation some others never had. This is where we break the silence about menopause, mental health, raising grown children, relationships, sex, and everything else in between. Here, no topic is too heavy, too personal, or too taboo. Just open, honest, sister-to-sister conversations rooted in love, truth, and healing. I'm your host, Estelle Solomons, and each episode I'll be sitting down with phenomenal women to unpack the things we were never taught, but we need to know as we grow, evolve, and take up space in our power. So pour yourself a cup of tea. As you can see, I already have mine. Take a breath and let's talk. This is our time. Today, we're going deep into the quagmire of menopausal symptoms, the physical, emotional, and the social storm so many of us go through, but keep quiet about. Not today. Today, we're going to speak up and claim our power. So let me give you a bit of a tidbit. Did you know that there are about 44 recognized menopause symptoms? 44. That is a lot. And at some point in my life, I easily could have suffered or experienced. I think suffering is the wrong word to use because we don't suffer. We experience these symptoms. 16 of these symptoms. That's overwhelming, ladies. So it's important that we demystify these symptoms and understand what's happening to our bodies. And just to give you a glimpse of what some of my symptoms were. I suffer from brain fog, difficulty concentrating, gum problems, hot flushes, the normal, irritability, anxiety and depression, night sweats, joint pain, loss of libido, bloating, digestive issues, dry skin and itchy skin. And that's just some. I don't think I've listed 16, but already it feels and sounds so overwhelming. So I'm not alone today. So to help me demystify some of these symptoms, I have a phenomenal woman who's joining me today. And she's the very first guest on Stella Sisterhood. And she goes by the name of Gillian Florence. Hi, Gill.
Hi, Stella. Thanks for inviting me.
How are you?
I am good, thank you. A bit nervous. I haven't been interviewed before.
There's no reason to be nervous. It's just us girls having a bit of a chat.
Yes, I'm here for it.
There you go. So Gill, tell us a little bit about who you are.
All right. I'm a 52-year-old woman. I'm about to be 53 during the month of July.
Around like a month over 20 or something like that.
Thank you. Thank you. Hard work. I've been married to Estelle's cousin it's headed for 29 years this year. We've got 2 adult children. My daughter is about to be 30 and my son is going to be 27 this year. They both recently got married, so we're dealing with empty nest syndrome at home. And that's another me.
Another topic for another day, right?
There's so much to speak about, but
there's absolutely so much to speak about.
That's me.
Now, Gill is one of those people that I really admire. She's a role model of some sort, just in terms of what she has done since she left her corporate job. But we will get more into that as we get into the interview. But really, Gill, kudos to you. I think you've done amazing stuff since you left the corporate world. But let's get more into the topic of today. So can you tell us, when was the first time that you actually noticed signs of perimenopause or menopause?
I was definitely 36 years old.
36?
I remember it so well. I remember 36 years old.
And I think that's quite an important point to note. That
I remember it so well. Yeah. Yes. I remember where I was working, what I was doing.
Tell us about that.
It was very gradual. But I definitely felt like somebody got inside my body and was controlling me.
Wow.
Emotionally, I just didn't feel like myself. I'll give you an example. I'll be driving to work and someone kind of, comes into my lane. And normally that kind of thing wouldn't bother me. But I would have one of two reactions. I'd want to cry. that's just weird. I don't cry for small things. I really don't. I'd feel so sad. Or else I'd be enraged. I'd be really angry. Again, that's not me. I was like, what's going on? And then I'll take it a step further. I remember I approached someone that I worked with that's quite a bit older than me. And because gradually I started noticing I don't feel like myself. And a little bit, some of the symptoms reminded me of when I was pregnant. You know, when your hormones are all over the place.
Your hormones are all over the place.
And you're craving things and you're hungry. And I spoke to her about it. And she looked at me like, I'm from Mars. And she was like, I have no idea what you're speaking about. I don't know what that is. And I'm sure she was definitely in a menopausal state. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And something that I want to actually touch on is the age thing, right? You mentioned that you were 36.
I was 36.
And that is fairly young to be entering a menopause stage, right? And the average is around about 45, 50 years old. And this is the thing about menopause. It's not a one size fits all.
Exactly.
And all of us can experience it at different times.
And at that time, I didn't have hot flushes at all. For me, it was mostly a mood thing. Yeah. So I just felt irritable. I felt enraged. I felt moody. I felt depressed. And those are some of the things I dealt with.
And certainly I can relate to that. I mean, I know my son Luke calls me the mad black woman, right? And that's because of the erratic nature of my emotions, the mood swings, the irritability. And the thing about it is it just comes out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
And as much as we know that, to be diagnosed as menopausal, you have to have missed your period for 12 months.
Yes.
Now, I had a hysterectomy a long time ago. I think I was 42 or something like that. So how do I know that I was in menopause at that point?
No, you wouldn't know because your period was not affected. So
absolutely.
You wouldn't know. Yeah.
So I think it's important then that we educate ourselves and we kind of talk about this so that 100%. We can understand.
Yes. And I did at that time, I spoke to my aunt who's since passed on. And I remember her saying to me, you'll notice in your 20s, this is what happens to your body. In your 30s, it changes. And in your 40s, and she was like, oh, girl, you don't want to get to the 50s. Then it's really crazy. And her attitude was almost like, I don't want to scare you. Because I think that's why people don't speak about menopause, our older ladies, because it's so traumatic. They don't want to speak about it. They don't want to relive it. They don't want to prepare you because it's almost like childbirth. Nobody wants to tell you because you're not going to want to have kids, if it makes sense, you know? The only difference is you get given a beautiful baby, and with menopause, you get given
all these symptoms, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that it is a natural part of life, right?
Yes.
And the funny thing is that you mentioned your aunt, because I was going to ask you about your mom, right? And I certainly remember, even with my grandmother, this was a very much a taboo subject.
Absolutely.
Right? And they didn't call it even menopause. They were scared to use the word menopause. It was the big change.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom vaguely talking about it. So you were really lucky that your aunt could actually
100%.
speak to you about it.
But I'll tell you about my mom. If you speak to her, she'll say to you, oh, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've never experienced that. But she's always got a glass of ice cold water with a frozen bottle of water. And I keep saying to her, Mummy, that's hot flushes. You can't have the door closed. You can't bath with the door closed. So sometimes they just can't identify it. And of course, I saw the mood swings. I saw the mood swings with older aunts. I saw the mood swings with my mom. But they don't connect the dots.
And again, you raise such a powerful point, is that we don't connect the dots.
Yes.
We see some of these symptoms in isolation, right? I have depression, I have anxiety, I'm irritable, I have hot flushes. And often menopause is only looked at from a hot flush perspective. And there's so much more.
Yes.
And I think, or what do you think women should then do to get a better understanding of just menopause is not just hot flushes or missing your period?
I think what we're doing today is very powerful, very important. I think we need to speak about it. We need to be loud and proud about our symptoms. I love the episode with Halle Berry and Oprah where they did the sit down. I think we need to share it with our loved ones. I think if you identify symptoms, but sometimes you find people are very sensitive. So when I see symptoms in you, Stella, and I say to you, have you checked your estrogen levels? Some people get agitated just by that. They don't even want to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And that is sometimes a telling sign. I've picked up with a couple of people, close people that I love dearly. They withdraw from society.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that to me is devastating because guys, let's talk about it. We don't all have the same symptoms, but let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And I'm glad that, and again, you mentioned Oprah and Halle Berry, because all of a sudden menopause is the new craze now.
Yes,
But
yes.
this is something that we've been suffering in
Oh my
silence
gosh.
with for the longest time. So I'm glad that the likes of Oprah's and
absolutely
Halle Berry's are talking
Mel
about
Robbins,
it. So that we can also now start talking about. I mean,
100%.
I watched a comedy skit with Wanda Sykes.
Yes. I saw that. Yes.
And I'm like, this stuff is real, right?
Yes.
And I think the more we talk about it, the more we laugh at ourselves about it.
Yes.
I think the more comfortable other people would become.
Because it's not end of the world.
It's not end of the world.
And there is treatment. There is definitely treatment.
And it's part of life.
Yes,
right?
that's it.
So we've spoken a lot about the emotional symptoms like the mood swings and the anxiety and depression. And then there's the physical symptoms. So personally, I've suffered like the hot flushes, the joint pains, and then the dry skin and night sweats. What were your physical symptoms?
When you gave some of the symptoms you dealt with, I've definitely experienced all of them. And then I'll add, I've had this itchy ear that just comes and goes. Sometimes it's the one and not the other.
Yes.
I know my mom-in-law, she struggled with ringing in her ear. And that to me sounded like so bad. So when I deal with the itchy ear, I think to myself, this is better than the ringing ear, you know, kind of thing. And then the other thing that people also don't speak about, Halle Berry she spoke about it in a lot of detail. I think it gives us the freedom to speak about it. The vaginal atrophy.
Yes.
That one is hectic.
Yes.
It is crazy. And even the doctor, when I approached her about it, she said to me like, oh, you know how you get wrinkles on your face? It's almost like your vajayjay gets wrinkles down there. And I
hope you've got a balm for that.
I do actually. I don't make it. I don't make the balm. I went to go and buy. Let me tell you this.
I think you need to make it. Okay.
I will add to it. Let me tell you, as much as there's information out there, there's very little information about this vaginal atrophy.
Absolutely.
And treatment for it. I have been digging.
Oh,
First of all, I didn't even have a name for it. I recently learned the name.
I didn't. So
I'm
learning here today as well.
Yes, when Halle Berry described it, so everyone gives a little bit of a description, but what it really is the lack of estrogen makes the skin down there very thin.
Yeah.
So because the skin is very thin, you are more prone to infections. You are more
UTIs, right?
More prone to UTIs.
I suffer a lot from
UTIs. I think all of us, but let's add to that. You'll have UTI symptoms, you'll get tested, and it's negative. And then I'm saying to my doctor, then why do I feel like this?
Yes.
And there is no real answer.
Absolutely.
I've got information for you guys.
Go.
So I'm telling you, I'm like so excited because
I'm like getting goosebumps.
Yes. What's her name? Dr. Marie Claire. That was also on that panel. She did a Q&A. It's a 42-minute. I listened to it, and in between, she slipped something in there. I think it was.
That's the thing. Why is it sneaked in?
It was
why is it not blown up?
Exactly. Between minute 14 and 17 is where I kept re-listening.
Yeah.
And she spoke about it's like an ointment almost that you put down there, and then I started Googling because this is now an American kind of ointment, and I was trying to find the South African one, and it's estrogen. That's all it is. It's estrogen that you get a pill. That's not what you want.
Yeah.
That's what I discovered. You don't want to do the pill up there. You want to apply the ointment, and then I tell you, the relief is unbelievable.
Okay,
It's
so
unbelievable.
ladies, Gill is going to hook us up.
I will hook you up.
So we're going to bring her back, and she's going to tell us all about this.
Guys, I feel like I can write books. I know so much about this. And,
well, that is why we're here today,
and it's
right?
not because I wanted to. I was forced. Yes, I was forced to do deep dives.
You were forced to find out what's happening. And this is where I want to talk about how do we take our power back.
Yes.
Because it is important that you actually do the work. Do the research, understand your body.
Yes.
And it's only by doing the research that you're going to know, oh, okay, this is what's happening to me. And this is what I can actually do. Because it's not, you're not totally lost. Our mothers were lost.
Yes.
We're not.
Yes. No, we're not. No, we're not. There is help out there.
Yes.
I'm so excited about it. There is help out there. There were times when Giselle, my daughter, said to me, Mommy, I feel like you're going through all of this because you are the one it's almost like you're paving the way, you're learning so that others can learn after you. And I said, you know what,
so
as horrible as it is, if it's going to help more than one woman out there,
absolutely,
then I'm happy.
And our daughters, I mean, both you and I have daughters.
Yes.
So I think they're in such a...
they know so much already.
I tell you. I mean, I did a mock interview before this with my daughter, and she played your role, and she knew everything about... And that's really what you... That's all you need.
Yes, that's what we want.
So tell me, what was the most unexpected symptom for you that you experienced?
I think for me it was the vaginal atrophy, because I really don't want to compare myself to Halle Berry in that way. But where I think we have something in common is I felt like I exercise, I eat more or less well.
Yeah.
So my symptoms won't be that bad. I'll be okay, because we were fooled into believing exercise and eating properly is all you need to do.
It's all you need to do.
And so, I think that one to me must have been the worst.
And it's really a holistic approach that you need.
Yes.
I must tell you, mine was the brain fog.
Oh, yes, that was horrible.
Yes,
horrible.
And the digestive issues, right?
Yes, okay,
the digestive issues was actually a big surprise for me. I only recently learned that menopause,
that is actually,
that's a menopausal symptom.
You know what?
And you know how long I've been
years.
So if I had known back then that this is part of menopause, I would have approached this totally different, and probably looked at my hormones back then already,
solved the problem.
But then I to have two ops and this, that,
imagine. And that's exactly what happens.
And that's what happens.
You get put on treatment incorrectly. You try this and you try that. In the meantime, the root of the problem's not being dealt with. Something that was definitely a surprise for me is frozen shoulder.
Oh yes, frozen shoulder.
The frozen shoulder is so real. It's so real. I thought I injured myself during chaturanga in yoga, and it wasn't that. I mean, to go and see a biokinetist. I did the treatment. I did the exercise. Nothing. Then I realized, I put it together. Okay, this is the frozen shoulder that they talk about.
So a light bulb just went off for me right now. Maybe that's exactly what I have right now. Because remember,
shoulder or hip, or which one?
It's around the
yes, I remember. Yes,
and there.
Yes.
And remember, I've been
struggling. Now I remember.
With this
yes, there we go.
For the longest time. So
it could be.
It could be that.
It definitely could be. And you know what I think? It's about being in touch with your body.
Yes.
Sometimes it's again Dr. Marie Claire that made me empathize with our doctors, because she said, A, they don't get trained. B, remember, they don't get trained on menopause. The other thing is, all of us are different. It's not a one size fits all.
Not a one size
so you need to know your body. You need to be in touch and in tune. And when we are multitasking and we're taking care of families and we're trying to be A-type personalities, at work, we're performing, we're doing everything to the best of our ability, we forget about ourselves. We forget about ourselves.
Absolutely.
And then when will you be in tune with your body? All you will know is, I'm so fatigued. I am so drained. I've slept and I still feel like I need 8 more hours of sleep. And yes, that is a part of it. One of the things I learned as well is about rushing. One of the doctors, somebody said, when you are dealing with menopause, those years of rushing,
it's
over.
Down.
It's over.
And
forget about it.
I want to talk about this, and I think it needs a full episode, because it's called the rushing woman syndrome.
Oh my gosh!
Right? And I tell you, I was talking to my son Luke a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I must intentionally try and slow down. And he said, Mom, it's not going to be possible for you. And
you have
this
to
is
make
the
it
thing.
possible.
You need to be deliberate about it.
Yes.
And I know, I feel
difficult.
it's so difficult.
It's difficult, but it's doable. I'm definitely jumping all over the place now, but
I think this is so important.
I'm just wanting to add, on my journey, I ended up with a psychologist. But even before that, during COVID, we were walking one day, because we always did like family walks. So it's either myself and the kids, or myself and Regan, my husband. And Giselle said to me, again, my daughter, we spoke about the fact that I cannot sit still. I can't be doing nothing. And she said to me, do you realize that's not normal? And I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Because she's so busy.
I said, no, when I'm laying down, I'm busy making mental lists, and I'm thinking about the work I didn't complete, and I've got to get back. And she said, no, Mom, that's not normal. And the penny didn't drop then.
Yeah.
I went to a psychologist. Again, it was a very long journey, but the psychologist said to me, I'm giving you homework. I want you to go home. I want you to make a cup of tea, sit and do nothing. You must look at the birds. At first I was like spazzing, you know. I was like, what is that? Yes, I was like, can I take a book and a diary? She said, no. I want you to have a cup of tea.
And do nothing.
No phone, no nothing. It was the most difficult thing I ever had to do. But now I can do it with ease.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, during that time, I discovered I hadn't had a physical bath in years.
Yes.
She said to me, homework, you need to get into a bath. Because even that is part of the self-care. So that's why I'm saying we're all over. Because you're rushing, a shower is quick, and off you go again.
And really, it's about being deliberate and intentional about slowing down.
Yes.
And I think because it's so difficult, do the little things. Like Jill said, take a bath.
Yes.
And soak for 10
because you're forced
minutes.
to slow down when you're in that bath, right?
Exactly.
If you've gone through the trouble of salts and bubble baths, you can't just rush out of it. You've got to relax and enjoy. And I don't know, to me, because our minds often work with schedules, I try and schedule a bath. So it's like maybe once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If I'm not too hectic, once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I've left the corporate world, but I'm still busy.
So busy. And that's, you get so busy and caught up in stuff.
It's like habit. Yeah.
So you mentioned that during COVID, you guys went for walks, etc. So what I want to, do you think that the people around you, especially family, friends, and we'll get to the workplace in a minute, do you think that they understood what you were going through?
I don't think the males.
Yeah.
I think not the males. I think the females, to some extent, some of them and some not. I think some people, until you've experienced it, you may have the attitude of, just get on with it, because that's how we were reared. You just get on with it, brush your problems aside and carry on. You need to work, kids need to be fed, etc., etc. And so people that are very close to you, I think they understood, yes. But I think for the males, it's difficult for them to process. I do.
Yeah, I do. And I think it's also a function of we don't necessarily always understand ourselves.
So how do you expect the next person to understand if you're not understanding this? And then how are you going to communicate it?
Yes,
if you are not clear.
If you're not clear.
Because sometimes you don't know what's going on. You literally you don't know. Because one minute you're sitting, you chill, the next minute you're wet under your boobs and you're like, what the hell is going on?
Like, what is going on?
Yes,
you know?
On that note, I want to tell you about the first time I had a hot flush. Guys, so I worked at Investec for the last 17 years prior to this 3 years. So part of my role, I used to work for the Pretoria branch. And I was traveling to Pretoria this morning, and out of the blue, I started feeling, it felt like a panic attack. I'd never had a panic attack before in my life. I started getting hot in a way that I cannot explain. I was on the highway. I opened all the windows. I was in bumper-to-bumper traffic. I was panicking. I didn't know, do I want to call someone? But I don't know what I'm going to say when I call, because I don't know what's going on. You know, I was listening to music or something, or podcast. I put everything off. I was dripping. I felt like I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea what was going on. And I think it happened at least 3 times thereafter before I realized it's a hot flush.
It's a hot flush.
In that time, I just tried to avoid crowds because in that moment, I just couldn't have people around me.
Yeah.
I was like, what? We were in church one day and I was like thinking, where's my getaway? How am I going to get out of here? Yes, because it felt like a stampede's going to happen. Where's the stampede going to happen at church? You know?
And you touched on, it happened on your way to work. So I want to talk about a time when it happened when I was at work and in a meeting, right? And you lay it up, and I think it was also during winter, right? And you get a hot flush, and there's all these men sitting with you in the meeting room, and you have to start taking off your clothes, and you're kind of like, do I do it now in front of these guys? Are they going to think I'm crazy or whatever? And you kind of like suffer in silence. Once again, you suffer because it's like, okay, because I've actually timed a hot flush. So mine lasted kind of like 2 minutes, but it felt forever. So 2
minutes is a long time.
It's a long time. And intense heat.
Yes, I mean, your heart rate goes up. I check my Garmin. My heart rate is going all over the place. Yes.
And this is the thing. So I want to get to the point of menopause in the workplace, right? And because like I was sitting there and I was like, I was embarrassed. I was like, okay, like looking left, right? Like, what am I going to do?
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about your experience, about your menopausal journey and being at work. How did you feel supported by your workplace? And just give us some color in some stuff for us.
Okay, that is a bit of a long story, but before I go there, I just want to say with the hot flushes, fortunately by then I knew what was going on. I would find it comes completely out of the blue, right? You are not nervous about anything. You're not stressed. You are literally just working. So sometimes what would happen is, I mean, at our age in the workplace, there's a lot of youngsters. So the guys come, they're like 25, 27, and they're coming to speak to you, ask you something, and here your face goes blood red. And I'm thinking, this child,
they're blushing for you.
This child must be thinking I have a crush on him. Like, that's how I felt, you know? And I'm just like, I want to put a sticker on my forehead that says, it's a hot flush.
It's a hot flush.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing to do with anyone around me. You know what I mean? That's how you feel, like you feel embarrassed.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not doing a presentation where you need to be stressed. There is nothing.
There's nothing.
Boom. It just comes out of the blue. Okay, so with me, the journey at work, it's a little bit tricky. During COVID, the year 2021, my aunt died. It was the 29th of June, very devastating period. We're very close. I got COVID on the 12th of July. And then I got my first COVID shot, the vaccine, the first week of September. And during that, from the first night that I got that vaccine, I got sick.
Sure.
And I just never got better.
Yeah.
I was sick, as in sick. For 7 days, I couldn't get out of bed. I was ill. It was the same symptoms as COVID, but worse. So it was diarrhea, it was vomiting, it was headaches, it was flu symptoms. And eventually I went to the doctor and she said to me, why didn't you come earlier? Some people do have a really bad reaction to the vaccine. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. She gave me some meds, but even then, I never got better. Then I would be at the doctor every 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
And I was on antibiotics. And then she started doing, and I went for a scan, I went for blood tests, and eventually they picked up.
So overwhelming.
It was so overwhelming, let me tell you. It was so overwhelming. And then at that point, they picked up lupus in the blood test. She sent me off to go and see a specialist, and I was on tons of medication and I was not getting better. I started going to holistic doctors. I've got a list of them if anybody wants. I started Googling. I started doing all the natural things that I could do. And work was definitely very supportive. Definitely they were.
Oh, wow.
They paid for a lot of things. They sent me to a psychologist. They sent me to a different GP. They sent me to another rheumatoid specialist. But work at the same time doesn't stop. So it's funny.
Yes.
It's funny. It's like they're supporting you on this side, but at the same time, your work needs to get done. And my job was very demanding, and I'd already been a good performer. So it was like not okay for my level to drop. It wasn't okay.
Yeah, it's not acceptable.
And, I had a lot of responsibility in the team. So, and as much as I was like, okay, let me work from home more often, during that time we still had that. My boss kind of felt like, no, we need to see you. People come to your desk. And I was like, no, when people WhatsApp, email, I'm accessible and I'm always accessible. So we had a bit of a tiff with regards to that. But eventually, you know, at the time, that, like I say, they sent me to a psychologist. And I remember with our very first session, she said to me, look, worst case scenario, if you end up leaving your job. And I said, what? I'm never leaving my job. I'm going to work until I retire. That's just not going to happen. She said, okay, no, it's fine. We're going to go through the process and see where we end up. But as I say, we were doing so many different things and the medication was not helping. I was getting shots. I was getting, you name it. There were so many things. And eventually I felt like I do need to care for myself and I do maybe need to step away. We had the conversation and they were very good to me. They gave me a package and whatever else. And husband's business was stable and doing fine. And he said to me, also, you know, quit working and let's do this.
Well, do you feel that your symptoms and what you were feeling at the time was exacerbated by your menopausal symptoms?
I'll tell you, I had a hysterectomy at the age of 47. And thereafter, I had severe menopausal symptoms, but I didn't know it was that. And I bumped into Ashlyn, our niece, at the gym. And I'll remember that day so clearly. I just offloaded on her. She's a doctor, obviously. So I was just like, Ash, this is how I feel. And she said to me, no, Auntie Gill, this isn't normal. You need to go to your doctor. There's help for this, etc. So I did that. I went to my GP. And she said, let's do a blood test. Blood test came back and she said, oh my gosh, your estrogen levels are so low. But then guess what she says thereafter? Let's give it another month. Let's see if it balances on its own.
How the hell?
So this is like 3 months after the hysterectomy, right? I'm living in hell, I promise you. And then a month later, but in that moment, right, the brain fog, the trusting your doctor, the not being able to advocate for yourself, the inability to think clearly, like it didn't even make sense to wait another month, right? But I did that. I came back a month later, the levels were even lower. She gave me the estrogen, right? I tell you, it worked within, I think, 3 weeks or so, and I felt fantastic. I didn't have complaints. I was good. I was good for a very long time. And then came COVID. And with these symptoms, immediately I had to stop the hormone replacement.
Because of the
they say the hormone replacement feeds lupus. Okay, so I don't know what's going on. I stop the hormone replacement because that's what I've been instructed to do. I'm still going, like I say, tests with the doctors. I'm on medication that's costing a fortune. It's not helping. I don't know, on your Fitbit or Garmin, you know, we've got this thing that says body battery. So it's from 1 to 100. Mine was on 5 for months on end. I had no energy. I had zero energy. I remember we went
That is crazy.
Yeah, we went to Namibia during that period. I remember sitting on the plane. I looked, it was 5. That entire holiday, I had a great time. It was on 5. It never changed. I was just exhausted all the time. I was eating and it's like the food was going through me. I'd lost weight. My clothes were loose on me, etc. But anyway, as we carry on, a holistic doctor ended up helping me with the lupus. I didn't want to take the medication. What's it called? The stuff that helps you, that makes you pick up weight. Cortisone.
I
didn't want to take cortisone, not so much because of the weight, mostly because it wasn't helping me. So I felt like, why am I taking it? Why am I taking this? You know, it's got so many side effects. A list of side effects. And so anyway, eventually I started feeling better, but along with a holistic doctor, we came to the conclusion stress is a big part of it.
Oh, no, absolutely.
And there's no medication for stress.
There's
That's
no
something
medication
you
for stress.
need to manage.
You need to manage that.
You need to manage that. Right? So that you can't blame on your boss. You can't blame on your partner, your children. No, that is on you. You need to take control of your life.
Being menopausal, because your hormones are so all over the place, right? It's very difficult to manage the stress.
Yes.
And
near impossible.
It's near impossible. So I find that is my biggest thing right now. And it's around the stress, and then I go into the parts of anxiety.
100%.
And in fact, Matt earlier on, he said, Ma, what I can see that you have certain triggers. And this is the thing, you're in a heightened state of anxiety.
That cortisol
and your
spikes all the way up.
And now you're trying to manage all. It is difficult.
It's very difficult. And let's add to that, when you are stressed, then you eat the incorrect foods because now you're craving. Right? So it's a slab of chocolate.
And all of that salty stuff.
It goes for me, it like goes in between salt, sugar. And that is so bad for you. And then that contributes to the symptoms because now you've got your gut that's messed up. So now you're bloating, now you have cramps, and the sugar contributes to the joint pains. So can you see, it's like you're trying to solve with this, but it's really solving nothing. But let me tell you, after all of this, I was at home for a period of 4 months, and then I felt, in fact, after 3 months, I started feeling better. And the plan was, I'm going to work with Regan. And I said to him, okay, I think I'm ready. And he still said, no, rest for another month. I think you need to rest. And during that time, I slept. I didn't think about much.
And I think that's so important.
It's crazy.
I don't think we sleep.
Who can sleep so long? I didn't know. I would get up, I would have a shower, or I would sleep. I would go to the psychologist. I would follow the holistic doctor's instructions, and I would go to the gym as well. Couldn't do much. Even if I go and I walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes, but to me it was like the discipline, and it was really me just kicking the devil in its face, saying, you know what, I'm still going to do what I can do. But for the most part, I was sleeping. And since then, I've been better, of course. I went back to the doctor because now the menopausal symptoms were through the roof. But I stopped taking the lupus medication. And then the doctors, we had a whole in-depth, and she said to me, okay, I'm going to give it back to you. She gave me the estrogen. Obviously, you need a script. And I was very excited because I knew last time it worked like a bomb. This time, unfortunately, it didn't work like that. And I was so let down. I was so let down.
And I think this is again one of those important moments, right? That we need to reflect and pause. Because it's really not a one size fits all.
It's not.
What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow because things in your body have changed. And this is the thing, because it's a quagmire, and you really and I think it's so important that you understand what's going on and that you educate yourself, because you're going to have to be in control.
There we go. You're going to have to be in control.
You're going to have to be in control.
I had no idea that you could up the dosage. I just assumed there's the pill, and that's that. And I'm taking the pill every day. And in the beginning, I don't know if it was placebo, maybe I thought, okay, it's working. But very quickly I realized, no, these symptoms are still here. And the doctor, I discussed it with her. She didn't suggest it. And we carried on, and I was doing the natural stuff and doing everything I could. And then again, research. There's Dr. Barbie. You guys must check her out.
Okay, Dr. Barbie.
Dr. Barbie, she's very quirky.
She look like Barbie.
She's very quirky. She's older. She's very quirky, but she's actually a scientist.
Okay.
She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If you enjoy listening to this kind of thing, learning about it, she's got tons of episodes. And this is where I realized, but you can up your dosage.
You can up your dosage.
So I asked my doctor initially, and at first she wasn't open to it. I went there for something else, maybe flu, and she was like, no, brushed me off, let's deal with flu or whatever. And then the second time around, I said to Giselle, I'm going back, I'm going to go and ask again. And Giselle said, no, Mom, you've got to advocate, you've got to fight. If you want it, you want it. And
it's your body.
And so I went in with that kind of attitude, and I didn't need to fight. I said to her, I want to, and she said, sure, no problem. She gave the script, and she gave the dosage. And I must say, I've been feeling better. Definitely.
So I'm on the estrogen gel.
Only?
Yeah, I'm just on the gel. And I take 2 pumps. One on the right, one on the left. And that seemed to have worked for me. And, it's really helped the hot flushes. But I want to touch on something that you were talking about, and that's being on the other side of the health practitioner, your doctor. because the thing is, there's always a relationship, a power relation between
Yes.
you and your doctor, right?
Yes.
And I think what's important is to kind of break that down.
Yes.
Because you're actually in control, not your doctor.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that's the important message
Yes.
for me today, is that
Yes.
you know your body.
It's your body.
It's your body.
It's
And you
your
need to
body.
tell the doctor what your
Yes.
symptoms are and what you're
Yes.
feeling. And what you think, yes, that is a professional and they've studied, and we do have respect.
Yes, of
but
course
the thing
we
is,
do,
we
yes.
must not fear them.
Yes.
You need to really take control, and because
And I
otherwise you're going to get either misdiagnosed
Yes.
or the incorrect dosage for the medication.
That's
and for
it.
me, that's part of
it.
the problem. And
But I
we
think
need to really
where the power comes in, you need to come in there armed with information. And then it's also important how you convey that information to them.
Yeah, they mustn't tell you, oh, is that
Yes.
Dr. Google?
Exactly, because that is what they do. And another thing is, I've lost my train of thought. Here comes the brain fog.
The brain fog.
In real life, yeah, in real life. There was something I wanted to say that she said, and I was just like, oh, this is what I find like annoying. It's like gaslighting, right? Because
Yes.
my GP, I've been with her for almost 30 years.
Totally.
And then also I had natural births with a housewife, a midwife. So I didn't ever have a gynae until I needed to do the hysterectomy. So I had this conversation with him as well. And to me, what I find is really gaslighty.
Yes.
Where they look at you as though you're the first person discussing these symptoms. And it's so annoying because clearly I'm not.
Yeah.
You guys probably hear this all day. So why are you making me feel like I'm weird? You know, because I remember in the beginning, my GP was like, oh, the meds we have for this is anti-anxiety or not anti-anxiety, antidepressive medication. But you're not depressed, so you don't need that. So I said, no, I'm not depressed. I don't want antidepressants, but I want something. You know, that's
and
before I knew.
Exactly. What does that something look like?
That's before I knew about HRT.
Yes,
before I knew about HRT.
And I think that's why it's so important to have a holistic view of your symptoms as well. Because like I said earlier on, you can't just look at one symptom, right? Because then you're only going to solve for the one symptom. In the meantime, then you have 20 other symptoms.
Yeah.
And you're not treating it as holistic. And you know, something that I really would like to pursue going forward is setting up a clinic.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
like
that's
for
amazing.
menopause. Yeah,
yes, that's amazing.
And I know Dr. Menopause, she actually runs a clinic in the US, and really to specialize in this, because I think we really need it, and we need that. We need the help because
and there's help.
A lot of, like I said, when we started this episode, we said we're going to demystify. There's so much brain fog around
so
this topic.
There's so much. Which is how do you expect men to understand this?
if we're not even...
If we don't know, how do we expect them to know? Yeah.
So we're going to defog, and you're going to help me with
I'm excited. I don't know if you noticed Dr. Marie Claire. She now has like a panel almost of doctors or a network. So if you're looking for a doctor, it's obviously in the States, you know, in the area. And if you've had a good experience, a doctor that knows what they're doing with us, she puts them on her. So we should get something like that here.
Maybe as a starting point.
Yes, we can follow the model almost.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's really something that I think we need to pursue. But what I also want to sort of touch on, right? So that's kind of the medical side, and how do we manage our symptoms from that perspective. So you can see the banner says, Stella stood and be kind to you, be kind to yourself, right? So that be kind to yourself is very important for us, and as women it goes hand in hand with maybe slowing down and drinking a cup of tea.
Yes.
How do you practice self-kindness and self-care?
Okay. So
are there any natural...
Yes. So it really gave me an opportunity to dig deep and to look at what it is that I need to make myself happy, you know, and to realize I can't depend on anybody to make me happy. It's my responsibility. So one of the things was looking at my gut health, because that has such a big impact on, first of all, your mental health. It impacts your joint aches and so many other things. So I started with the bone broth. Initially, I bought a sachet of powder and I made it. And again, I'm always researching this kind of thing. And then I learned about making the bone broth.
Okay.
I made the bone broth.
Tell us more.
And yes, it was like I saw instant results. I was so impressed. At home, they didn't like it. They were like, oh, we don't like the smell and whatever.
It smells awful.
Yes. And then my hair started thinning. That was also part of the menopausal symptoms.
Yes, absolutely.
Suddenly my hair started getting thicker.
And your nails are brittle.
Yes, that's right. Then the hair started getting thicker. It was growing very fast. And then Giselle was like, oh, Mom, I think I'm going to try this broth because
so you're talking about this broth. We have this bottle of broth here. And I'm going to hand it over to you and you're going to tell us more about this bottle, little magic in a bottle. Yeah.
Okay, and this really is magic in a bottle, guys. I don't want to praise myself. I'm praising the broth. I'm not praising you,
need
right?
to do both.
Yes. So thank you.
We don't shy away from praise.
That's kind of what we're learning from the hailberries as well. This is our period. We're walking in it, with our heads high. We're claiming it. This is our time.
So that is
yes. So Giselle gave me the idea, Mom, why don't you sell the broth? I said, Giselle, who's going to buy broth? You can make your own. She said, it's the convenience. And let me tell you, my business is booming. My business is booming.
I know your husband always complain, guys, every day I come home, I just smell broth.
Yes.
Everything is broth.
Yes. I've now gotten to a stage where I allocate days, when it's convenient. I don't do it every day anymore. I've streamlined. And again, thank you to corporate. I understand how to run business
and how to set in processes, systems.
That's it, about making sure that it's profitable.
Absolutely.
And again, I will always be grateful to corporate because I was able to, what I've learned there, pour it into husband's business, small business. That's also booming. Yeah. And I'll pat myself on the back because there's been lots of growth since I've been there. Yes. So
that, by the way, is another topic for another day because we'll go into that.
Yes. And then let me tell you, there's so many things that the bone broth does. I'm going to have to put on my glasses so I can read to you guys.
Yeah, some of the things. You need to find a solution for us.
Yes.
Around the eyes. But
yes, that one's not yet there. But definitely glowing skin.
Yeah.
The hair and the nails become so much healthier. It improves the gut health. It boosts your immune system overall. Yes, it strengthens the bones and the joints. And from here, we also birthed Tallow balm.
But maybe before you go there, let me maybe give my own experience around the broth.
Sure.
So I've also been using the broth now for probably, how long?
Maybe
6 months.
Yeah, maybe 6 months. I would say 6 months. Yeah.
Or so. And I've definitely...
Are you a regular user? Do you run out? Do you always...
I would like to become more regular. So I do struggle, but I take it mainly in the mornings.
Okay.
And I do one, and it's mainly because I forget. That's the big. But in the morning I remember.
Yes.
Because it comes with my breakfast. So then I just ask Theo to bring my broth.
Yes.
But in the evening I need to get that.
Yes.
But I can tell you that for the time that and that's the nice thing about it. Even prolonged use.
Yes.
That my joint pains are so much better.
Yes.
So much better. My nails are actually so much stronger.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't have an issue with the thinning of my hair, but my hair is thicker.
Yes. And I remember you said your hairdresser says.
Yes. Right. She keeps saying, okay, what's happening? There's a patch here. Just yesterday she was saying, I'm like, it's my hormone. So, so really, I've seen the benefits of the broth.
I'm so glad.
And you're going to tell us where to buy the broth, but please go into the birth of the tallow.
Yes.
And I'm going to hand it to you so that you can talk about.
Okay. So, I don't know how ready I was for this, but anyway, I'm going to just go ahead. I had no interest whatsoever, first of all, in making bone broth. Like I say, that idea came from Giselle. And people were ordering, and again, the most important thing I forgot to say, it's collagen.
Yeah.
Pure collagen, so we know what collagen does for our skin, etc. And I noticed that people were doing tallow balm. And I looked at it, I wasn't interested at all. I really wasn't. And then one of the days I was laying on the bed, just relaxed. ideas will come to you when you are in a cool,
Yes.
calm, relaxed state.
When you've slowed down,
When
right?
you've slowed down. In actual fact,
Right.
I was praying, and I'm not going to lie to you. There's tallow balm out there, but there's no tallow balm like Flow with Joel's tallow balm.
There you go.
Yeah, the tallow balm that they sell is plain. It's just the basic tallow balm. So I make 3 different kinds of tallow balms. I've always had an interest in essential oils, the peppermint drops, the lavender drops,
yes.
those smells. It makes you feel good. If you're dealing with sinuses, you give yourself a massage, etc. I was laying down. The Holy Spirit gave me the idea.
There you go.
Which essential oils to mix with the tallow balm. I was like, really?
Really?
You know what? And then I decided I'm going to get up.
Jody.
I'm going to get up and I'm going to make it now because I may forget,
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, guys, I suppose it's the brain fog. I made 2 different kinds initially. One was anti-aging. And the other one was for scars. So we're referring mainly to, the dark pigmentation people get because of using, what do you call this?
Skin.
The pill.
Oh, okay.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah,
Yes.
what do you call chloride?
Yes, that pigmentation. Yeah, that dark.
Or something.
I don't know what the correct name is, and being in the sun, etc. And I tested it on the family. And Regan's got psoriasis, and he said the itching was going away. It's really helping him. It feels good. With eczema, it was helping. Stephen, my son, was dealing with acne. They call it backne on the back.
Oh, okay.
And he was
Never knew
blown
that.
away. Yes, he was like, Mom, this really helps. Can I have more? I saw it in my skin. I was like,
your
my
skin is amazing.
Thank you. I was like, oh my gosh, is this for real? When I needed to make a second batch, I had forgotten the ingredients, believe it or not.
Guys, brain fog is a
I'm
real
telling
thing.
you, I said, let me
Write
get
it
out-
down.
Let me
tell
get
you
out
now.
my pad.
Write it down.
Yes, let me get out my pad. I had to go through the process again, and I had to perfect it because it wasn't exactly the same. And I was like, you learned your lesson.
Yeah.
It's fine, So
Yeah.
now I know exactly how to make it. So I sell 3 different kinds. So the one is for aches and pains, so you just rub it on. My mom deals with arthritis.
Yeah.
She says it really works for her, and I've had awesome feedback from people.
Yeah.
Like I say, the aches and pains with the scars as well as the anti-aging. So yeah, you guys can hit me up, Flow with Joel on Instagram.
go.
You can get my telephone number from Estelle at any time. I'm very happy to service you.
I will
Yes.
put Joel's details in on social media, and you guys can definitely follow her. So
Thank you.
I use the anti-aging, and that is really so. During winter, I have extremely dry skin.
Everybody with
and
that's part of
especially
menopause.
that's part of menopause.
Yes.
And now my skin is so much more
Supple,
moist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really helped me. But what I've also found is sometimes I use it. I try and give my skin a break and use
Okay.
it at every second night or something,
Okay.
because I also have a problem with my pores being clogged up.
Okay.
So then I use it, but it really, like, my
Yes.
skin is no longer dry, because I
Yes.
used to have this flaky
Yes.
stuff
Yes.
here, in the middle, and that is gone.
Gone completely.
So really, ladies, this product works.
But I want you to talk about your other passion, right? And also the importance of movement. You have become a yoga instructor, right? Yeah, who would have thought? And putting us through the motions. And I need to get back to yoga, but I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. Okay. Tell us about your yoga journey.
All right. I'm going to start by saying,
And how important it is to move.
movement is
Yeah.
so important. Outside of menopause, movement is important for everybody.
Yeah.
Particularly as you start to age. There's a lot of memes out there that says we are no longer training for our bikini body, we're training for our 70-year-old body.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
how do we want to age?
Yeah.
How do we want to get up from a chair? Do you want to be independent, or do you want to ask someone, pass me the cup? Pass me this, come and tie my shoe. So if you aren't putting in the work now, don't be shocked when you are 70
and you can't,
and you are
yeah.
not able to do it. They say sitting is the new smoking.
Wow.
That
Wow.
is how destructive.
That right there.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that's how destructive lack of movement is. So nobody says you have to gym 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. I would say most important, find something that you enjoy. So I've enjoyed working out since, I don't know, I think Giselle must have been around 3 years older. So I was never an athlete at school. I didn't ever do anything active at school, but from around that time, for me, it started with calisthenics, incidentally. But over the last period of time, I was doing pole fitness, I was doing aerial yoga, and spinning. I did yoga as well, but as part of menopause, I started realizing I'm really struggling with the cardio.
The cardio,
The cardio became nearly impossible.
Yeah.
With the aerial yoga and the pole fitness, the being upside down, vertigo incidentally is also a symptom of menopause.
It is, yeah.
And vertigo started affecting me. And very sadly, I had to give that up. I do still do a bit of pole, but because I enjoy it, it's challenging. But I really discovered my love for yoga movement. I'm going to be specific when I say yoga movement, because as part of yoga, I really don't get into the spiritual aspect of it. For me, I find my spiritual fulfillment with God, my relationship with God, my church attendance, etc. So I don't get into any spiritual, but what I do is the movement. That's all it is, because yoga is slow paced.
Yeah.
Yoga reminds
slowing
you
the body down, right?
Yoga reminds you to breathe. Yoga brings those cortisol levels down. Yoga releases endorphins. Most exercises releases endorphins, and it's something that you are able to do even when you don't feel well. That's what I find. I can have flu and I can do yoga. I can't have flu and go for a run, as an example. So there's never a reason to stop yoga. There are days when you feel like you need to do less or for a shorter time, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of being kind to yourself. Another thing that I like doing is going for massages. That's a treat. I love it.
That's also something
It's
that I
very
do, yeah.
important. Yes, we've got a spot in Mondio. It's called Ancient Healing. There's a doctor there. She's very good. She was also part of my healing, but they're very inexpensive for their massages. So you don't feel like you're breaking the bank, and they are fantastic. They really get into pressure
put
points.
a note on all these resources.
Yes, they're all over. They have centers in the different.
Yeah, I think I've seen one in Florida as well.
They're brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant. And that's one of the ways that I spoil myself.
So when
as
do you
well.
have your yoga classes?
All right, yes. So as part of my healing journey, I don't know. Once again, I just got this unction.
Yes.
I've always looked at Wellness Connection. It was a group that I followed on Instagram. But I follow a lot of yoga stuff. But I liked the way they kind of taught and the messages they were giving. And I always said, my daughter-in-law did yoga training with them. Her name is Zoe. And I said one day, if I'd like to do the training, not to be an instructor, but just to amp up what I can do in yoga and just to learn a bit more. And then during this period of being off, one day I just decided, you know what, I think now's the time. I didn't really have the money for it, but I checked when they were having another course available, and guess what? They had room, they had space for one person.
And there you go.
I immediately signed up, and yes, there we go. And I've never looked back. A week after, and it was difficult. It wasn't easy. It was very intense, physically and mentally. Lots of learning, theory and physics. Oh my gosh, we were doing yoga for hours at a time, and it was hectic. And when I graduated, if you want to call it that, a week later, because I was the kids and Regan, they were my guinea pigs. And then a week later, I was like, okay.
It seems like you're putting your family through the paces. They're guinea pigs for everything.
Yes, but remember, they've been putting me through my paces since I've met them.
Payback.
So, payback. That's right. But they've been very good and so supportive, and I'm so grateful. I wouldn't be where I am without them. And a week or two thereafter, I said, guys, I'm going to advertise for a class. And they were all like, are you crazy? You literally just graduated. You still need to build up experience. I said, that's how I'm going to build experience. And the very first class I had was free, and it was packed. I needed to have 2 classes back to back.
I remember that.
Yes, and it was amazing. I was blown away. I was in awe, in shock the entire day.
It was so much fun.
It was amazing. I loved it. I've never looked back. It has slowed down quite a bit, and it's mainly because winter. Some people, again, to me, guys, exercising is about loving yourself. It's about caring for yourself. So you may think you're doing good by being cooped up in the blankets. Trust me, go do your yoga, go back to the blankets. You're gonna then feel like you've earned that rest. As you're gonna have a rush of endorphins, as opposed to just laying in the bed. That laying in the bed can almost make you feel depressed. It's so important to move your body.
And that's something that I'm struggling with right now, because I had this injury, and maybe perhaps it's now this frozen shoulder thing, and maybe I need to explore that. But it's really been difficult, because last year I also really got into gym, and I really enjoyed it. So I would do gym twice a week, and then yoga on a Saturday, and I could feel the difference it was making. And now I'm struggling, because I haven't done that for over 6 months.
Oh, it's a long time.
It's a long time. So what would you recommend? How can I how can I ease myself back into just...
And I do have recommendations. I think walking is very good. I think, and I'm not really answering your question, I'll go back to answering your question. I feel like when you have an injury, because I've been dealing with this frozen shoulder, don't stop exercising. So if you're hurting on top, then whatever you do it with the legs. If you've hurt your knees, do whatever you need to do up here. So don't give up, because
so
it's
that
discipline.
Consistency stays in
It's that discipline. That discipline is there. And also, to me, it feels like I'm doing something for myself. If I didn't exercise, I feel like everything I've done is for somebody else. It's for a boss, it's for a client. What have you done for you? So that hour that you dedicate is a gift from you to you. So with yoga, go back, do the yoga. If you are in a position or a move that you feel is hurting you, then you come out of it. It doesn't mean you can't do anything. It doesn't mean you can't do anything, because the entire yoga does not just depend on that one. And you will see that there's many stretches that can strengthen that.
It does, because the first year that I go for stretching anyways.
Exactly, precisely. And to me, what I find very, very helpful is a biokinetist. They are just brilliant. They are brilliant. I've had injuries over the years, and I promise you, I always come back out of there and I'm fine. They've strengthened that part that was weak. Like right now, a lot of people at our age, they struggle with their knees, and they don't realize it's because hamstrings and quads are weak. It's not actually the knee. So these are the parts that you need to strengthen, and then your knees will build up. And then something very small, you must walk backwards. You can do it on a treadmill or in your house. Make space, walk backwards. That also strengthens the knees. So it's small things. Yes.
It doesn't have to be these big ticket things.
Exactly.
Going to the gym and
and to me the big thing is, like, for everybody out there, find what you enjoy. Years ago I was doing Zumba. Dancing. You don't realize how you break out in a sweat. You absolutely perspire, and it's fun. You don't even feel like you're working out. So you must find a thing that you enjoy. Pilates is great. There's so many things out there. So we can never say we don't have options. And hiking. Hiking is fantastic.
Hiking
because now you're enjoying nature, you're connecting with God, you do it with someone, you're chatting, you don't even feel... Yes, you don't even feel like you're exercising. You don't even realize that you're exercising, And remember, most of us with our jobs, we sit all day. All the more reason why you have to exercise. And if it's impossible to get out there, do it in front of the TV. When my kids were small, I couldn't go to the gym. It was impossible. I used to put on a cassette, a VHS cassette.
We know you're in your 50s.
Yes, that's what I remember I used to breastfeed, and then I put baby down, and then I do calynetics pause, and then I go back to baby. Yes, so I promise you, an hour's training would take 3 hours, because I was doing so many things in between.
And that's just the thing, doing it at your own pace.
At your own pace. Find something you love. Don't put yourself last. By not exercising, you're putting yourself last. Because I can assure you, if your friend, your mother, your brother calls you, I need you, come, you're going to get up and you're going to go. If your kids need you, you drop everything and you go. Why don't you do that for yourself?
If you need you.
Exactly.
You need to stop and take care of
yourself, guys. Exercising is part of taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Forget about, I want to look good. That's irrelevant.
It's not even about
It's to be
that.
able to move comfortably. That's what it's about, And it makes you sleep better. So whenever people tell me they struggle with insomnia, which is also part of menopause,
Yes.
I almost
It's something I
guarantee
struggle, yeah.
you will not struggle with insomnia
So
if you
if you
exercise.
exercise,
Makes you tired.
It does make you
It makes you tired. You're going to sleep well.
So, sleeping is
It goes hand in hand.
one of those
hand in hand
problems
with
that I'm
exercising.
struggling with.
You see, exercise. So before you look for a pill for insomnia, exercise for an hour and try it for a week. And it's still you aren't sleeping. Then maybe next step find a pill or something else. But I guarantee you, exercise makes you sleep.
It does
well.
make you tired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joel, this has really been amazing, and the amount of gems that you dropped was really out of this world. So just some closing reflections. What do you wish women knew more about menopause? And what advice would you give someone like your daughter, or someone that's about to enter this journey of menopause?
Sure. There's so much to say. I think 3 things for me. Speak to older people, connect with people, find out, especially people that's willing to speak about it.
Yeah.
So maybe the first or second person you speak to may not be interested, but there's somebody out there.
Absolutely.
I
Find
think-
your community.
Yes, find your village.
It was really amazing talking to you, and the insights and the pearls and the gems that you dropped was really amazing. So just some closing reflections, right? What do you wish women knew more about menopause, and what would you advise someone that's just starting this journey?
Off the top of my head, because there's so many things to say, but I'm going to speak about 3 things specifically. The one is, when you start feeling these symptoms, I think speak about it. Speak to people, speak to someone older. The first or second person that you speak to may not be willing to share the information. Keep speaking until you find your people, find your village. I don't think as women we'll survive or we'll flourish without each other. We need our village, and not everybody's cup of tea.
Yep.
So that's the one thing. The other thing is, all of us spend a lot of time on social media, TikTok. You listen to a whole lot of things that's not important. We can all tell you about the P. Diddy trial and everything else. Use that time and research what your symptoms are.
Yeah.
Educate yourself.
Yes,
Something I didn't speak about, it just dawned on me, is the carnivore diet was very helpful for me. You guys can go and research. It really is just about eating protein. Stephen put me on with that one, and it worked wonders. Fasting, that forms part of it as well. And then the third thing, exercise. And that is something you can start immediately. Like today, tomorrow, tonight, the day after. And you don't have to join a gym. You can skip. Get a rope and skip 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You can walk. There's endless amounts of different kinds of exercise, but I don't think we'll survive without exercise. I think it's important for everybody. And definitely for menopause. Yeah. And let me tell you, when you exercise, you feel very empowered. You feel strong. You feel like you can deal with things when you exercise.
Taking your power back.
Yeah.
So ladies, menopause is really a journey.
Yeah.
And not a destination.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So be kind to yourself.
Yes.
So Joel, thank you very much. This has been way beyond what I expected it to be. It was so awesome.
Thank you. I feel good. I feel really good.
Yeah, and I really want to thank you, and being the first guest on
I feel so special.
on Stella's
and I was
Sisterhood. And I think this was really amazing. So
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for that.
And I'm excited whenever we visit this again. I'm in it to win
No,
it.
definitely. I'm going to have you back for a couple of more episodes.
Thank you.
And we're definitely going to have these real conversations.
We can drill down. We can get into more detail.
And we can drill down. And there's so many aspects that we just touched on today that we can really...
Yeah, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now for the favorite segment of the podcast, Stella's Gems. And today's gem. Menopause isn't the end of you. It's the unveiling of you. Every symptom is your body whispering, slow down, listen, and evolve. Thank you for spending the time with me today. In our next episode, we continue with our series on menopause, how to manage your symptoms physically, psychologically, and spiritually. Until next time, sis, be kind to yourself.